I forgot how much I enjoy talking to you.
Oh, hey man, right back at ya. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Nerdy for 30, the podcast where comedian Tim Keck and I talk about nerdy-ish things for 30-ish minutes. My name is Kevin Bauer. I am back after being out ill last week. I had horrible food poisoning. It was nothing compared to how disgusted I was that the song from the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special did not get more love. That song is an instant classic. It should have been 30 minutes of talking about that song.
I love it. I love it. Danny wasn't biting on it. She was not feeling it at all.
She wasn't.
I love it. I love that song. I've listened to it a lot. I heard we're in like a gap period for like Spotify right now. Like they do the Wrapped and then you kind of have December to just listen to whatever you want. And then January starts. Like Wrapped apparently only goes from January to November. Otherwise, my Wrapped would just be this Christmas song being played over and over again. Honestly, I've been rocking it constantly. Even the one Kevin Bacon sings at the end, I love it. I love it all.
It's so good. Yeah. You know what? They did that on purpose because that's what all of our listener personalities would have been, is just James Gunn fiends. But we're not here today to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. We're not here to talk
wish
about.
We were.
Hey, great movie. Also, not the holiday special. Not talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. We're not talking about the Guardians of the Galaxy at all. We are talking about Violent Night, the new David Harbour killer Santa action flick that hit theaters on December 2nd. Tim, what did you think?
I thought it was ho, ho, ho-kay. I think I got the Doctor Strange problem. Like, we've had this before where we did a whole hype pod dedicated to Doctor Strange and you just elevated your own expectations so high. You're talking about everyone who's going to be in it. I think I got too excited for this movie. I think I was expecting too much. And if I had tempered my expectations like I normally try to do, I think I would have enjoyed it way more. But some part of me was like, I want more. They give you the stuff. They give you the good stuff. I guess I just wanted more of the good stuff and just quicker. And they tried to add this story, which it was probably, I'm going to rewatch this movie. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. It's on the Christmas rotation now. I'm not overly critical of this movie. I think I got overhyped and I was expecting David Harbour to come in swinging and just be murdering everybody. This is Santa. He's in control and he's going to save these kids, because I don't think we need like a redemption arc for Santa doing this thing. But it was okay. All the stuff with the kids was cute. The violence was awesome. I wanted more. I don't know, but that's probably a me problem. I don't know if everybody else feels that way.
I don't know. I think we may be united on wanting more at the very least. I thought this movie, I think I liked it more than you. I thought this movie was so good. It was so close to being an actual classic. This movie, like, I don't know that I've ever seen something get this close to being really good, but then fumble it at the, God, why did I start going into a football analogy? What's the smallest amount of yards? Is there a 0-yard line?
1 yard? Well, one in goal? I don't know. Inches. They'll say inches sometimes.
All right. I can't believe that this movie fumbled it. I don't know that it got to inches. This movie fucked it up at like the 10-yard line. It had a little bit further to go. At the beginning of the movie, the first scene of this movie is incredible. Like the very first scene that's out there is so fun. It's a perfect intro to this character. If I'd never seen the trailer for the movie and didn't know what kind of movie we were in for, I thought it was basically going to be like Bad Santa. Like, I would think that this is just David Harbour is another mall Santa. And then you get that hint of he knows the bartender's grandson wants the video game. You get that beautiful, corny ass line of like, you can't go up there. Those stairs lead to the roof. Oh my God. Her like look in wonder to the skies as he's flying away. And then he hurls on her. It's a great scene.
God, honestly, you talking about, I like want to rewatch this movie. I think this is a fun movie. I think is David Harbour just cursed to be in like this tier of movie? Like, he did Hellboy and that's like an R. And I kind of enjoyed Hellboy. I thought it was okay, but it wasn't good. Like I liked David Harbour in it. I liked that it was an R. I liked how violent it was. I liked so many things about it, but it was still like kind of like a B movie. And this feels like the same thing, kind of, where it's like, I think this is better. This is more fun. I'm going to be rewatching this more. But it seems like I think these like R action comedies are like David Harbour's tier.
Mhm.
I just wish it was like just a little bit. Maybe he'll get it on the next one. Honestly, maybe the third R-rated action comedy he does will just absolutely destroy. I don't know, but he's trending upwards. But this is definitely like, it feels like an A-. You're right. I'm not really sure. Like they could have gone campier or just, I don't know what's missing from this.
I think I was thinking a lot about this while I was watching it, because it's not too long after that opening scene that I loved that it starts to kind of trip. And I was really trying to break down if it was the villain situation, because I think John Leguizamo's doing a little too much here. You look at another classic Christmas action movie like Die Hard, and maybe it's unfair to compare John Leguizamo to Hans Gruber, one of the all-time best action movie villains. But Alan Rickman's really like, I don't even want to say he's underplaying it, but he's playing it really steady. Like he's playing the character very.
It's not a caricature.
Right. Yeah, that's the perfect way to phrase it. Whereas John Leguizamo keeps doing these really weird like riffs, and even the little touches like having the code names be like Sugar Plum, Scrooge, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I feel like it's the kind of thing where if you do it and you show that maybe once and you don't really comment on it, it's fine. But the movie had just a little too much self-awareness around it. Maybe that's what I want. I want this movie to not have any self-awareness. I want them to play this dead fucking straight.
Yeah. I think John Leguizamo in general just changes the whole tone of this, right? Like if he's the big bad, because he's doing John Leguizamo stuff. I was honestly pretty impressed with like the fight at the end where he's like holding his own. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I kind of buy him as like being able to fight Santa and like beat him up. I'm just realizing this now, as you said, the Santa names, like the Christmas names. John Leguizamo is the big bad, right? He's running this operation. He hates Christmas. Mm-hmm. So why are all the code names Christmas themed?
I think the in-character explanation would be that it is ironic. I think that's his way of being like, yeah, fuck Christmas. Which, by the way, I wanted to ask this. As motivations for hating Christmas go, what did you think of John Leguizamo's reason for hating Christmas?
It's insane. It's insane. Well, I think just the idea of him hating Christmas, I kind of groaned. When it was like him robbing someone is enough. I don't think he needs to hate Christmas. Honestly, I think it's even better if it's like a guy who's like kind of doesn't give a fuck about Christmas. Yeah. Like it's just like, even if he can be neutral on Christmas and Santa's just kicking his ass. Like it's more funny to play the villain even straight. Like if the villain is played straighter, right? Mm-hmm. If we're talking about the XY axis of comedy and one is like the grounded reality of like a bank robber or like somebody robbing a house, and the other one is like Santa and like Christmas shit. You want to go as far out as possible on both lines to get to the funniest point, and that's John Leguizamo like playing this like straight as fuck, and Santa Claus doing all the Santa shit and just like murdering everybody, and it's like real grounded responses from the villains. Like if we really ground the shit out of the villains, this is a better movie. Just by contrast, I think.
Oh, this is fascinating because this perfectly dovetailed into the next thing that I wanted to ask you about. I love David Harbour in this. Don't get me wrong. I really like this character for David Harbour. I hope we see more of David Harbour playing this version of Santa. That said, for the XY axis of comedy, do you agree that this would be a funnier movie if there was just like some very old traditional Santa type playing the action Santa in this? Almost like a no name, just like a jolly old man.
Just like a jolly old man. I mean, I think, yeah, you're right. Like that would be funnier if it's like, but I feel like that's kind of been done like in South Park or something, right? They have like, they do that kind of shit where it's just like straight up Santa. I think him being like disengaged from the holiday, I think is pretty good. it was just like an extra 10 minutes of time, just like brooding with David Harbour. And I didn't need it. I knew he wasn't that. They could have cut. I mean, I feel like we say this a lot, but they could have cut 50 minutes from this movie. It would have been mostly David Harbour just brooding, or just like scenes of just like the henchmen just running around. And the movie would have been so much. But this should have been like a 90-minute movie. I don't know why it was it was almost 2 hours, which seems kind of crazy. There's just a lot of time with David Harbour just being like, oh, is Christmas real or what? I don't even know what he cared about. Like, who gives a shit? He's like just moping around the whole time. And it's like, you'd think after, and it's also like, it's revealed that he is like a Viking warrior in like a past life. And arguably it's been like a century or whatever, centuries since then. But you'd think at some point he'd be ready to kick ass like early. Like, it shouldn't take so much work for him to go into I'm going to murder everybody mode. Like, that should have, like, his wife sent him his Warhammer, which had a fun name. To be fair, I did laugh at that point when he pulls out the hammer and the girl goes, "Of Skull Smasher," and she's like overjoyed. Like, that's the kind of shit that I want, is a girl who's just like marveling at Christmas, and Santa's just like bloodily beating people, and she's like, "Go Santa!" Like, that's like the energy that we need in this. Is just, I don't know why he didn't get into it earlier. Pretty much once he gets the hammer, once he finds the sledgehammer in the shed, it's like the movie changed. Then it's like, then they start really giving you what you want. Up until that point, I feel like it was I was less excited about it. It just wasn't as good.
Well, his motivation wasn't super clear, right? Because like the opening scene, it seems like there's going to be a really clear through line, because he's talking about how kids just want money these days. Like, everything's really commercial. They either want money or they want the newest materialistic thing. Like, nobody cares about the spirit of Christmas. Then we cut to a house for a disgustingly rich family that has arguably been ruined by wealth. I mean, you look at the foil family for the protagonist family, and it's like a complete like monster Karen mom. It's like a self-absorbed actor stepdad, and then a kid that won't stop streaming. Like,
it's like Succession or some shit.
Yeah, it's like really, it's like a dystopian view of like those wealthy families. And then the main family were made to believe like, oh, you know, they haven't been affected by the wealth in the same way. And like Trudy is this little girl that truly embodies the spirit of Christmas. All she wants is for her parents to be together. And so I was confused that when Santa's in the house and the house starts getting robbed, or like, you know, he hears the gunshots and stuff and he's trying to get out of the house. Number one, it was strange to me that like Trudy's the only kid that's there. Well, I guess the streamer kid too, but like Trudy and the streamer kid are there. So he should probably know who he's leaving presents for. He should know that if there's this girl that actually embodies the ideals that he said that he wanted in that first scene, that like she's someone that he wants to look out for. But still, he like does the whole deal where he like, you know, gets out of the house, tries to escape, and then looks back in the window and is very begrudgingly like, oh, okay. Where I feel like it's stronger if he's like, this is a girl that's worth saving. Like, this is a girl that I need to stay here for. Like, Trudy, you are the spirit of Christmas. I'm going to kick ass to save you.
Yeah. Yeah. It felt like a very traditional movie, like as far as the hero's journey is concerned, like, right, because like in like the end of the movie is when he makes his turn, right, where he like he makes the decision to go after it. But I also feel like we're all in on the bit. It's called Violent Night. It's David Harbour fighting. Like, what if he makes that turn like 30 minutes in? Are we really going to be upset that he's just like straight up fighting all these guys like in this movie, you know? And like maybe he could be murdering everybody and still hate Christmas. And then maybe his turn instead could be that he is ultimately convinced to believe in Christmas again, you know? Like maybe that's his turn, is that he starts to believe again, even while he's like beating the shit out of all these guys.
Oh, you know? I love that.
Like then the turn isn't, it's okay to kill people. The turn is like, there is power in like Christmas, and it can be beautiful. And this girl embodies that. I mean, the girl was great. I mean, there is 0% chance that those parents stay together, though. They are no problems were fixed. He robbed his mom for millions of dollars. He's a selfish jerk. They fought one guy together. They trauma bonded for a little bit. They got, 6 months out of that. And then next Christmas, Trudy's begging for Santa to get her parents back together. But, that would involve her dad being around, which I guess he isn't willing to do. So that's she's also the wife had never been to his house before, been to his family's home. So this is like a weird, were they even married? Are they?
No, she has to have been to the home because the guy at the gate recognized her and recognized Trudy, right?
Oh, that's true. That's true. There was just a line where it was like, I still can't believe you grew up like this. That made me think that she wasn't around that much. But
I think that was the thing where it's like, no matter how many times I come here, I can't believe you grew up like this, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's just another thing where I'm like, they're together at the end because they're supposed to be together, but ultimately, like, all their problems are like nothing's been solved during this.
Well, that's the holidays, Tim.
Oh my God. So I was devastated when they shot the gatekeeper guy.
Oh,
when they shot Al.
Holy shit.
I was stunned at how much that hit me. I was so upset, and they did it so well. It's like a great introduction to John Leguizamo. I mean, him just walking up and like cold-blooded murdering this. Like, he doesn't have to murder this guy. They can like tie him up or something. They could trank him. He just shoots him in the head. It's like, oh fuck, Al's. I loved him. I mean, he was the most sympathetic figure in the whole movie, honestly.
It hurt. It really did hurt.
Yeah.
I was very surprised by that. I'm right there with you.
Did you like the family at all? I know, like, we talked about the dynamic, but did you like these characters? Did you enjoy the kid? Like, at the end of the movie, there's like a stinger, right? Did you see the stinger? And it's the kid who is like on his cell phone and is like posing with a body and is doing this thing. I hated that kid so much. Like, it's just the lamest fucking character to do. Like, it's funny to see him like get his ass beat, but even making that the stinger, the idea that they have like all this whole cast of characters, they have Santa Claus, all this action, all this wild stuff happened, and they're like, you know what the audience is gonna love? Another scene with the shitty influencer guy who is, the closest thing to like the shitholes we need to deal with in everyday life, right? Like, we all know that guy. That guy fucking sucks. We have no choice but to view him every time we open up Instagram or TikTok. We hate that kid, and yet he's like the final taste in your mouth when you leave. I don't know. Did you like him? Did you like his parents? Did you like any of this?
Fuck no. No, who I did like is Beverly D'Angelo. This is a great Beverly D'Angelo role. Honestly, of all the people in this movie, she maybe crushes her role the hardest. Although, I mean, look, whatever problems there are with the script, whatever problems there are with motivation, I really, truly think this is like, if we get a sequel, this could be in the pantheon of David Harbour characters. It's not a big pantheon yet. I feel like he's kind of been shorted in that way. Obviously, he's got Hop. Hellboy, I hated his Hellboy movie.
You think this is even how would you even describe this character? Like, do you think David Harbour's put a unique enough spin as a performer onto Santa Claus that this is something they could run back and you'd be like, this is a top tier? Like, he goes on SNL and he brings this character back, a la like Dave Chappelle, where they just like do the Chappelle show. Like, whenever he's on, they're going to have like David Harbour on and they're going to do a Stranger Things sketch. He's going to dress up as Hellboy and then he's going to do Santa from Violent Night. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't think it's unique, and I don't think he did anything. I think he was just a drunk asshole, and I don't know. What did you love about his character?
I think it unlocks with the Viking backstory. And I think when he starts going into like the world weariness, like it's tough because it's the kind of thing that's so assisted by the world they've created in the film. But moments in it that he, to his credit, plays completely straight are like the moment when he has to stitch himself back up, but with Christmas ribbon and like an ornament hook. Like those little things where he is able to give it that like hard action movie edge, despite the fact that the other things that are happening are ridiculous. Like, those are the moments where this movie truly shines. And just little things, I know you can't, this is just part of the costume design. You can't attribute this to David Harbour as an actor either. But like the way he's all tatted up and stuff, I feel like he embodies that. It informs the world weariness that he has overall as a character. And that's not unique to this character versus Hopper or his Hellboy. Like, that's kind of his shtick as an actor. But
yeah,
I think
it's Hopper. Hopper would stitch himself up, right?
I mean, yeah. you got me there. He'd stitch himself up. I guess it's
He's
just
Hopper
a different
playing
flavor.
Santa is what it feels like. Who also was a Viking.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Look, you got me. I got.
I didn't mean to. I wanted you to come back and like defend this, but no.
And then
I think
I realized
I'm right.
that wrapping paper thin argument.
Yeah. I know we've been mentioning Die Hard a lot. I don't know why. I don't know why Die Hard's on our brains, but this does feel like Violent Night is Die Hard, is like a Die Hard homage, right? Because like the scene of Santa stitching himself up, a lot of Die Hard is like, part of me is like longing for more action in Die Hard, kind of the way I longed for more action in Violent Night.
Mm-hmm.
But when you rewatch it over and over again, it's like, it's the moments where John McClane is like alone, like stitching himself up or like cleaning his wounds or whatever. And like, I think that's probably what they were trying to do with this story, right? It's Santa. He's like hiding around the house. There's a lot of scenes of him just like being on his own. He's talking to the girl through the headset, kind of like they do in Die Hard. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like that's exactly what they tried to do. They tried to do Die Hard as opposed to just taking the name Violent Night and making that movie, right?
Yeah. And I think there's obviously a ton of homages going on here. I felt mixed feelings about them. There were a couple moments where they just wholesale took moments from other movies, like the skim milk thing. It's just straight up from the Santa Claus. Like, you can't just take that. It's just a joke from a different movie. There was another one they did too. Oh fuck, what was it? I think it was another Santa Claus movie, but it was just like, are you for real? You're just going to straight up do this again? Like, you're just going to run back the exact same joke? Felt pretty mixed about that. Although they made references to Home Alone. And I was like, sure, if we're setting this in the real world, people have seen movies. They're going to have seen Home Alone. And then when they set it up, when she's like, I can do traps like in Home Alone, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, they literally spelled out exactly what she's going to do instead of just letting us see like, oh, cool. Yeah, she mentioned Home Alone, so she's going to make these traps. We know where she got it from. And then the traps themselves were so good that I forgave everything. It was so much fun to watch.
I love that they called their shot there where they're just like, we're doing Home Alone. We're just doing Home Alone, and it's going to be way more violent than Home Alone was. We're doing the Home Alone where like he wanted to kill people, and they did it, and they crushed it. Like the stair thing is so funny because like that's like a Home Alone thing, right? He has like a single nail sticking up, and it's like on this thing, and he like pricks his finger on it, and then he runs away, and one of the bad guys steps on it, and that hurts them. And now they end up using it to like stab through this guy's mouth, and it doesn't kill him. It's amazing. And then they do the bowling balls. Like, weren't there bowling balls in Home Alone? I don't even remember. But they're doing all these like Home Alone-esque things in just cranking it up to like a lethal level that, I mean, I enjoy. I mean, I think there's a lot to enjoy about this on the rewatch. Like, I think next year we're going to be singing a different tune about Violent Night. Whenever it's in the rotation for Christmas. I think it's going to grow on me a lot. The more we talk about it, I think, it's just going to be on in the background, and I'm going to be tuning in for parts and tuning out for others. And I think the parts with the kid are going to be the parts where I'm paying attention. She was great.
She was real good. Do you think she was too old to be so shitty at making cookies though? I thought they do the Santa. There's a moment with the cookies where David Harbour picks up all of her cookies because he likes them. He puts them all in his pocket, and then he pulls out one and he eats it, and it's not the Santa. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Why didn't he eat the Santa one? And then outside he pulls out the Santa cookie, and it's like hers. And he's like, oh, she made this. She loves Santa. But the cookie looked so shitty. The cookie looked unrecognizable, which is like kind of sweet, but also I'm like, what is this girl, 5? This girl, she has no motor skills whatsoever. I mean, I mean, what is she? She's like reading books, right? Like, she's in elementary school. She can function as a human being. Like, I don't understand how this is like a 11-year-old kid. I feel like real inconsistent age. That was going to be one of my gripes. It's like, I don't understand the relationship between the girl and Santa just because I don't fully know how old the girl is. Like, I don't know. It's strange. I don't know how this stuff
She's
works.
She's right on the border.
Day Shift had
She's right on the
another
edge.
like really questionably aged girl where it's just like, are you 5 or 15? Like, what's going on here?
Right. That feels like a trope, an action movie trope into itself. Honestly, is just where there's like the girl who's like smarter than the parents. She's got more going on. She's like, figuring out all this stuff. And she's just an ambiguously aged, she's like Paddington Bear, where it's just like, oh, they're a bear, it's like Paddington could be an adult. Paddington could be a child. We have no idea. It's just a cute little bear. Yeah. And everyone in this world has accepted that it's a bear. We treat him like a kid when we want to treat him like a kid. We treat him like an adult when we want to treat him like an adult. And it's all fine. It feels like that's just kind of like a thing they do, but with like young girls. It's like you get a young girl. Her parents are divorced. They're having trouble. And she bails them out. She beats the bad guy. She's doing all this stuff. I don't know. It's not a trope I hate, to be honest. It doesn't make any sense. It's weird, but I always enjoy it. You get like a cute kid on screen, just murdering bad guys. I'm here for it. I love it. She took lives that night.
Oh my God.
She's got more lives on her hand than her parents. She's got to go back to school like after winter break. And they're like, what did you do? And she's like, I took life from another person. I watched the eyes of a human being grow dim as I impaled their body with nails that I intentionally tried to sabotage them with. She tortured these people, and it was incredible.
Oh my God. She's like, here, I drew a picture of it, and holds it up, and it looks like a drawing of Mr. Bill. She just still has no ability to translate.
Oh my God. I came up with the perfect sequel, right?
Hit me.
So, in like the Santa Claus, Tim Allen, right? They do the Santa Claus. Then like they do the Santa Claus 2.
Right.
Like years later, and the kid is like grown up, right? And the kid's a problem. He's like messing around, and Tim Allen's like, I gotta get my dick sucked. So I don't have time for this kid. I'm trying to get my dick wet with his teacher, and that's like the whole point of the movie. He just has to fuck before Christmas, or else everything's ruined. So he uses magic to trick this woman. I don't know. It's a sketchy scene, but I like the idea of them just like a decade from now, or just recast. The girl is back. She's grown up and she has a taste for blood. She's killed as a child and she can't forget it. It was the best night of her life. That's when she began believing in Christmas. That's when she saw Santa Claus. And that's when she took 2 lives. Well, she took 1. She killed 1 guy. And what if she goes, Santa Claus. What if
Santa Claus normalized killing for her? She watched Santa Claus kill on top of killing herself.
Yeah. She associates. This is also the night her parents got back together and they were broke. Like this is the biggest event of her young life, right? Her life is forever changed after the event of Violent Night. And her parents are going to separate again. Her dad's not going to be around. Her mom seems sweet, but a single family household. She's got to work. This girl's getting out. She's gone off to no good. She befriends a janitor at school. He's like kind of lonely. No one would miss him. She follows him to the shed after work. She picks up a rake. She remembers when Santa Claus used household weapons to kill people. And she emulates her hero, reflecting on the best night of her life when Christmas was real. And she murders this man. And now she's got a taste for it. Now she's out for vengeance. It's Christmas Eve. She's going to go on a killing spree. Who stops her? The man who set her on this path, David Harbour, Santa Claus. Boom. Violent Night 2. What's that character's name? Trudy.
Oh
Violent Night
Trudy.
2, Trudy's Revenge. And he just like go all in on this girl growing up, being fucked up, and Santa Claus has to put her down. I think that's it. I think that's a hit.
Holy
we got a
shit.
bang on our heads. I got to tweet at David Harbour before somebody else does.
Yeah, you got to get in there. I'm fully on board. The only pitch that I have is that we got to work Naughty List into that title somewhere. Like Violent Night 2, the Naughty List or something. And maybe it's like there's a list of kids that he's working his way through. Probably not God. Kids, probably people that he's working his way through, and he's got to like shut these people down. And then the kingpin that he's working toward is Trudy. Like maybe it's like a gang that's beautiful. Like been doing crazy shit around this town leading up to the Christmas season.
Oh, that's it. Violent Night 2. the naughty list, and it's just him hunting down people on the naughty list and killing them. Then he runs into Trudy.
Mhm.
They battle it out. He doesn't expect it. He sees her name.
He realizes it's her. Yeah.
Her name is like, I don't know.
It's Gertrude, right?
Is it Gertrude?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It just is Gertrude on the list. She's an adult now. It's not Trudy anymore. He doesn't even remember her. Or she shows up on his list as like her serial killer name. Like she's been nicknamed by the towns looking for, I don't know. I can't think of a single good name. The mower. I don't know. I like to think she ran somebody over with a lawnmower, and like that's her signature move is to like throw them through a wood chipper. So now she's like either the chipper, the mower, and that shows up on his list. He goes to confront her. It's Trudy. There's like a conflict, right? They fight. They beat the shit out of each other, and it's a draw. And then they ultimately end up joining forces and taking down everyone else on the naughty list. And then they just like storm the White House. They start murdering everybody. They're in Qatar, like fixing that shit. They're just like going around like righting wrongs that have been done. They're going to the Koch brothers. They're just like taking out. It's like big names. They can just go right to the top. I mean, I'm here for it. That'd be an awesome movie.
Did you pitch Santa doing an insurrection?
Yeah, I'm picturing insurrections everywhere. All the insurrections, every possible insurrection. I'm protesting him doing. I just watched this TikTok video about how the electrical grid in the U.S. is like completely fucked, and it was like, oh, if nine electrical grids in this country go down simultaneously, then like we'll have a blackout that lasts 180 days. Or something like that. And it's just like, oh, we could. And that basically it's all about how the electrical companies, the grid is all designed from 1950. They should be readjusting it. It had like a 50-year lifespan. We're way past that. They should be updating it. But of course, profits over, all this stuff. So corporate greed could potentially cause an entire electrical grid failure in this. And I think David Harbour's Santa Claus could do something about that. That's all I'm saying.
Which is perfectly in time for David Harbour's Violent Night 3 Off the Grid. The grid is down and Santa Claus is up to no good.
Oh my God. The power goes out in the entire US and he just goes on a killing spree. He's like, I can save us. The country, like it all descends into like the purge. It's just like the entire country has gone purge because there's no electricity. Like one of the estimates was like 90% of the country would just die because of like no electricity because of like lack of food. Like we need it for everything. So everything would shut down. People just start dying. And Santa Claus is like, I can fix this with the Christmas spirit. And then he shows up, starts giving out presents, a mugger. He sees a mugger, starts attacking. I mean, there's like a million ways we could have done this. Honestly, pitching ideas for what Violent Night could have been is like way more fun than talking about Violent Night.
Well, I got a couple more things on Violent Night that I want to talk about before we end here as we're wrapping up. Some beefs and thieves. Let me hit the beef theme first.
Where's the beef?
Okay, here's a beef. When John Leguizamo tells this elite crack squad of commandos to kill the hostages, they don't do it. They just don't do it for like a long time. Like they give so much time for all the hostages to fight back with no like formulated plan. They just kind of are able to do it because everybody ignores the direct order they got. I hate seeing that kind of stuff in a script. It's the same as when you see like a cut of like a chase scene and somebody that is way faster, like somebody in a car is like right behind somebody that's on foot. And yet they're able to make this chase scene last for like a couple different cuts. It's like, just start with the car further back. We still get it. Just start with the car further back and we don't have any of these problems. So that's my first beef. Second beef.
Good point. Great beef.
This elite paramilitary force gets shot at by a woman who has gone skeet shooting a couple times. She's dead. There's like, there's no way. There's no way.
There's no way.
That you can attack. No way. She's hiding behind a snowbank. I was looking really carefully. There's no like stone or anything that they're shooting into. It's a pile of snow and then like a very open railing situation. There's no way the mom survives that situation.
Yeah, they could just unload and something would hit her.
They were unloading.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my two biggest beefs. Do you have anything?
No, let's do your thieves.
All right.
What you got?
I got a couple on here.
I think you're a thief.
Okay, thief number
Already.
1. The basement fight scene with the bag full of billiards balls and the Christmas light takedown. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Such a good fight scene. Holy cow. We watched this video, this YouTube video about like what makes Jackie Chan fight scenes so great. And one of the big ones that they bring up is like what the character does. If the character has something that makes them powerful, what that character does in response to losing that thing. And seeing him have to like reach around in this bag and find a weapon, and then the weapon's no good. He's got to figure out how to improvise something in that room, and ends up filling a stocking hat with pool balls. Holy shit. How much fun is that?
It's awesome. It's great commentary too, that he's reaching the bag and everything's a video game.
Yeah.
And he's just like, God, it's just like all video games. and then finally pulls out a golf club, which is useless. And then he does the pool ball thing, which is so fun. And then it immediately rips.
Mhm.
He's just constantly problem solving in that scene. And the solution is ultimately to stab him in the eye with a Christmas star and then electrify his whole body, which is insane. It's great. It's so good. That scene is sweet. I love it.
Dude, there are a couple scenes in this movie where if you just shown me these scenes with nothing else in between, I'd be like, this is an all-time classic movie. That's one of them.
Yeah,
Opening
the shed
sequence is
fight
one.
was awesome.
Lights out. Shed
It was
fight
great.
was so
Flawless. No notes on the shed scene.
Home Alone
It's perfect.
sequence, great. Honestly, the fight scene with like Wazamo in the end could have used a little bit more justification before we just bring him up the chimney and he comes out a torso, but whatever.
I kind of like that, and I was kind of bummed there wasn't more magic in this, right? Or did you like
Yeah.
that he was just a guy? Or did you kind of want, I kind of wanted like a little more Christmas stuff. What if somebody lost an arm in the bag, like what if he like somebody's arm disappeared in it and then he somehow closed it and just like cut off the guy's arm with it? I don't know. I feel like there's things they could have done that are like Santa things that would have been fun to see. And
Definitely.
I mean, I don't know. They set up the chimney thing really well. And I knew it was going to happen as soon as they had this fight scene and you pull back and there's just a chimney. There's nothing else. There's just a chimney in this field.
Just a chimney.
And it's like, oh, hell yeah. It's coming. And it did not disappoint. It was great. It was awesome. Man, maybe I love this movie. It might be the best movie I've ever
Watch
seen.
it again, man. I thought it was a great time. I had so much fun watching this movie. Oh,
I'm going to watch it
holy
again.
cow. What did you think? Did you think this movie was a blast? Do you think this is a classic? Let us know. Send us an email, nerdy430@gmail.com. Maybe we'll read it on the show. We've been doing those in the review previews. It's been fun. Thank you so much for listening too, everybody. We'll be back here again next week talking about either Lethal Weapon 2 or The Nice Guys. I'm not sure which one we're going to dive into first. But it's going to be one of the two. We're going to talk about two. It's a little two-parter episode with our buddy Mike Green. It'll be so much fun. Happy season's beatings, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Yes.